This is the Warrior Kid podcast number 3, Ask Uncle Jake. And my name is Jocko Willink. And this podcast is based on some books that I wrote. The books are the Way of the Warrior Kid books. The first one is From Wimpy to Warrior, the Navy SEAL Way. And the new one is called Mark's Mission. And the books are about a young kid. His name is Mark, and he faces a lot of problems, the same kind of problems that most kids face growing up, including me when I was a kid, and including my own kids, of which I have 4. And Mark gets help solving these problems in both books from his Uncle Jake, who is a Navy SEAL and who stays with Mark in the summertime. And I made this podcast so that kids could hear some other lessons from Uncle Jake, and also so that they could get a chance to ask Uncle Jake some questions themselves. So here we go. The first question is, how do I know that I have a good teacher in school if my friends say that the teacher is bad? Okay, that's a good question. There are a lot of kids that say teachers are bad in school. Some kids don't like any of their teachers. Teachers have to make kids do things that kids don't want to do, and sometimes kids don't like that. But here's the deal. In order to improve ourselves, sometimes we have to do things that we don't necessarily want to do. Like sometimes we have to study instead of play. Or we have to eat healthy food that makes us strong instead of candy that makes us weak. Or sometimes we have to exercise when maybe we might feel like being lazy and watching TV. And teachers have the hard job of getting kids to do things like study and exercise and clean up the classroom and write things that are hard and things that take effort. And so sometimes kids think they don't like that teacher. But that teacher's actually doing a good job. So you can't always listen to a kid when they say a teacher is bad. The teacher might just be trying to get the kids to work hard so they do better in life. Now, I got to tell you something else about teachers. Teachers are only half of the solution when it comes to learning. They're only half of the solution. The other half of the responsibility of learning and of getting better is on you, the kid. As a student, when you're in a classroom, you have to pay attention. You have to take notes. You have to study. You have to work hard. And also, if a teacher doesn't explain something in a way that you can understand it, you are responsible for telling the teacher you don't understand and asking them to explain it again so in a way that you do understand. That actually helps the teacher. So, when it comes to teachers and what other kids say about them, don't worry about what the other kids say about teachers. Do your best to learn the most you can so you can be smarter and better prepared for life. Next question. Was being a SEAL fun? And this came from Kaya, who's 8 years old, who can do 10 pull-ups now, by the way, because she practiced. So thank you for letting me know that, Kaya. And also, please let me know when you get to 15. All right, so was being a SEAL fun? Being a SEAL was very fun. It is a great job, and a lot of the stuff is very fun, especially if you're the type of person that enjoys things like being outside and being in the ocean and being in the woods, being out in the outdoors. But I would say that the best thing about being a SEAL is the people that you get to work with. And I was very lucky to serve alongside some incredibly good people, great people in the SEAL teams. And I also got to work with great men and women in the rest of the Navy and in the Army and in the Marine Corps and in the Air Force. And I even worked with some people in the Coast Guard. So that's one of the best things about being in the SEAL teams for me, was working with all these other great people in all these other military branches. All these different friends that you make is the best thing about being in the SEAL teams. And the next best thing is the job that you actually get to do, which is fun stuff. For me, at least I thought it was fun. Not everyone thinks it's fun. But if you think jumping out of airplanes is fun, then it's fun to be a SEAL. If you think scuba diving is fun, then it's fun to be a SEAL. If you think shooting guns is fun, then it's cool to be a SEAL. If you think getting cool gear is fun, then it's cool to be a SEAL. And it's a lot of fun. But I'll tell you this also. It's very important to remember that even though the job of being a SEAL or being in the military can be very fun, you also have to remember that the ultimate job of a person in the military is to go to war. That is what people in the military do. And war, even though it's exciting and it's challenging, it is also very tough. And people in war, including your friends or even yourself, can get wounded or can get killed. And I have lost many friends that were killed in war. And war can be very, very horrible. So even though being a SEAL or being in the military can be a great job, you also have to remember that the job can be very serious, very challenging, very stressful, and you need to know and understand how hard it can be and what the risks are before you ever decide to join and do that job. All right. The next question is from Silvano, who's 8 years old. And he says, my nickname for my dad is Captain Tutorials because he is always telling me how to do things. He is my jiu-jitsu instructor, my workout coach, and my dad. How can I not get so aggravated with him sometimes when he gives me advice? Well, Silvano, I'll tell you, you are very lucky. You're lucky because your dad not only wants to help you in training, but he also has the time to do that. Many kids don't have a dad around or their dad is too busy to help them. As a matter of fact, in Way of the Warrior Kid, Mark's dad is gone all the time working, so his dad doesn't get to help him with much. Now, that doesn't mean that his dad doesn't want to help him, but oftentimes moms and dads have to make their job their biggest priority so that they can have money to feed their family. And that's kind of the situation that Mark is in. His mom and his dad are just very busy with work. But like I said, you are lucky, Silvano, because your dad has the time to help you and he wants to help you. Now, the problem is that he's your dad. And sometimes kids don't like listening to their dads. I know I didn't always like listening to my dad. Why is that? Well, I'll tell you, because deep inside your mind, you know that one day you will have to leave your mom and dad. You'll be grown up and you'll have to go out on your own. And if you relied on your mom and dad for everything, you would never be able to leave. So part of being a kid is that we rebel against our parents just a little bit. We try and figure out how we're going to live life on our own one day. And once you know that that's what you're trying to do, and you can see where that rebellion comes from and that aggravation comes from, you can stop it. Now, here's the truth. Your dad wants the best for you. He wants you to be healthy. He wants you to be strong. He wants you to know jiu-jitsu so you can defend yourself and you can protect others. And he wants you to do well in school. And you might wonder, why does he want all these things? Why is he constantly trying to be Captain Tutorial and tell me what to do? It's because he wants you to have the best life possible. That's why. Now, listen, you aren't going to agree with everything that your dad says, but what you should do is listen. Listen to what he says. Try and understand what he is saying, and don't think of it as coming from your dad. So listen to what he says, but try and imagine that it's not coming from your dad. Picture that you just read what he's saying in a book, and it didn't come from him. And then ask yourself, does what he's saying actually make sense? The chances are what your dad is telling you to do does make sense, and you should give it a try. And I bet you will find that it makes you better at everything. And let me give you one more little piece of advice. Every once in a while, if you want to be a really good son, just tell your dad, thanks. All right, next question. What is the point of school when no one around takes it seriously? Well, that's actually a pretty easy question. The point of school is to learn, to make you smarter, to make you better prepared for the world. And this is a thing that a lot of kids don't understand, and it's something that I didn't understand when I was a kid either. The way you act now and the things you do now will impact and affect the life you have in the future. The worse you act now, the worse life you will have in the future. The less you're prepared now, and the less you prepare for life now, the less you're prepared you will be for life in the future. School is preparing you for life. Even things you don't think are important, things that you don't think you will ever need in life, what those things are doing are exercising your brain, making you smarter so that you can figure things out in the future, so that your brain has power. Just like exercise makes you stronger, when you work with your brain, it makes you smarter. And that's what you're doing in school. And the smarter you are, the more knowledge that you have, the better you're going to do in life. The better job you will get, the better leader you will be. The relationships that you build with other people will be stronger. You will make more money. The more impact you'll have on the world, the more control you will have over your own life. The harder you work now, the more disciplined you are now, the more freedom that you're going to have in the future in your life. So, I know that sometimes school is hard. I know that sometimes school is boring. And I know that sometimes kids might not take it seriously. And sometimes even kids make fun of other kids that do take it seriously. But I'm going to tell you, you should take school very seriously, because school is one of the first steps on a pathway to having a better life. Next, my son Eric wants to know why at the end of the book, the first book, does Uncle Jake go to college after he was a Navy SEAL for a bunch of years? Well, yes, in the first book, Uncle Jake has just gotten out of the SEAL teams and he spends the summer with Mark, and then he goes to college. And in the second book, Uncle Jake just gets done with his first year of college and he comes back to stay with Mark once again in the summer. Why is he doing this? Well, even though Uncle Jake loves the SEAL teams, he also still wants to learn more. He wants to get smarter. He still wants to go to school like we just talked about. He wants to be better. So he decides to take a break from the SEAL teams and go to college. I haven't talked about this in the first two books, but he does want to go back into the SEAL teams once he is done with college. And when he has a better understanding of history and of conflict and of international relations and politics, and when he's able to write better and communicate better, since he will have a better understanding of the workings of the English language, with all those different skills that he's going to gain in college, he knows he's going to be able to do a better job as a SEAL. And that's why he's taking a break from the SEAL teams to go to college. Next question. My mom says I shouldn't watch so much TV and YouTube, and I shouldn't spend so much time playing video games, but I really like them. How much is okay? Well, the problem with watching TV and YouTube and playing video games is that they aren't real. They aren't getting you better at anything. They don't make you stronger. They don't make you faster. They don't make you smarter. They don't make you healthier. As a matter of fact, they actually make you weaker, and they make you slower, and they make you dumber, and they make you less healthy. So why would you want to do them? Well, the answer is that I know they can be fun. In fact, they are so fun, they can be addictive. And addictive means that you don't want to stop doing them. And by the way, that isn't just by chance that happens. It's not just by chance that they're addictive. It's not just by chance that you don't want to stop playing them. The games and videos and the TV, they are designed to be addictive. That means the people that make them, they want you to keep playing them. They want you to keep watching. And that's not healthy. And it can be hard to stop playing them. That's why when you're playing a game and your mom tells you to stop playing the game, you don't want to stop. You feel like you really don't want to stop. That's the little feeling of addiction. When you don't want to stop, you want to keep going. So I think it's best to not even start playing them or watching them. Instead, go outside and play a real game. Go exercise or go run or sprint or play or go read a book or write or draw or build or do something real that will make you smarter and stronger and faster and healthier. Now, if you really want to play some games or you really want to watch some TV or you really want to watch a video on YouTube, you ask me how much is okay. Okay, here's my rules. Do it 3 days a week only, and you set a timer for 30 minutes. And when that timer goes off, turn the machine off and go live. Now, this question is a good question, and I actually wrote about it a little bit in the new book. So Mark thinks he needs a rest, and so he takes a day off, and he sits around all day watching TV and playing video games while Uncle Jake is out all day getting after it. And here's how the day ends up. So, like I said, Mark has been sitting around all day, not doing anything besides watching TV and playing video games. Uncle Jake, he's been out getting after it. And here we go to the book. Uncle Jake came home just before dinner. He was all dirty looking and sweaty. We sat down to eat. So how was your day off? What did you do? Uncle Jake asked me. Not much, really. Just relaxed, I guess. Oh. Sounds like TV and video games. Yeah, some, I told Uncle Jake, knowing that he knew what that really meant, that I had watched a ton of TV and played a ton of video games. What about you? What did you do? I did a bunch of research at the library. I'm learning more about the First World War. Then I wrote a dozen or so emails to friends of mine, guys all over the world. Then I worked on the design of a house I'm going to build one day. When I was done with that, I went rock climbing, which was awesome. So it was a good day. Rock climbing, designing houses, researching World War I. I felt like I missed out on a lot of good stuff. Sheesh, Uncle Jake, I didn't know you were doing all that good stuff today. I wish I could have done some of it with you. You could have, but it was your day off. And speaking of your day off, how does it feel? What do you mean? I mean the day off that you said you needed so bad. How was it? Did you enjoy it? Well, I wasn't sure what to say, but I wanted to stay positive, so I said yes. The problem was that I didn't even believe that. It wasn't an enjoyable day, so I changed my answer. Kind of, I told him. But I knew that wasn't true either. The day wasn't even kind of enjoyable. So I changed my answer again. I mean, I guess. But now I just felt that he didn't believe me anyway, so I told him, maybe not. But there shouldn't have even been a maybe. The day was not good, and I knew it. So finally, I told the truth. No, Uncle Jake. No, I didn't have a good day. Why not? I don't know. I guess I just didn't do much. I mean, I did some stuff, but it was just kind of lazy. You had a lazy day, Uncle Jake said. He knew it. Yes, Uncle Jake, it was lazy. I thought I needed it. I thought it would feel good. Of course you did. Lazy days always feel good when you start them, but the problem comes when they are done. When they are done, they never feel good. You never look back at a lazy day and say, I'm glad that I didn't do anything today. I'm glad I didn't make any progress. I'm glad I didn't accomplish anything. No. Why would you say that? It would never be true. But lazy days are tempting when you're facing the hard work before you have started, or when you're tired and you want that easy day. But once it's done, the lazy day never feels good. Uncle Jake was right again. Even though it seemed like I needed it and seemed like it would feel good, the fact of the matter is that at the end of the day, it didn't feel good. I accomplished nothing today. And the worst part was that I didn't even feel refreshed. I actually felt just as tired, if not more tired, from sitting around all day than I would have felt if I'd have gotten after it. No, Uncle Jake, it doesn't. After a quiet minute or two, Uncle Jake looked at me and said, well, you know what you did accomplish today? No, Uncle Jake, I said. What? You learned. You learned that laziness is never the right path. And that's a good lesson because you can't get a lazy day back. They are gone forever. Don't ever forget that, Mark. I won't, Uncle Jake, I told him. I won't. Uncle Jake nodded. He knew I wouldn't. I went upstairs and got ready for bed, excited for my opportunity to have a great day tomorrow. And that is a little part from the new Warrior Kid book about those lazy days. And like Uncle Jake said, they never turn out good. And that is all I have for this episode of the Warrior Kid podcast. And if you want to get one of the Warrior Kid books, you can get them at warriorkid.com. And if you want a Warrior Kid t-shirt to wear around, or you want a Warrior Kid rash guard, you can get them from jockostore.com. And that is it. So thanks once again for listening. Thanks for reading the books. Now go out there, train hard, study hard, work hard, get after it, and be a Warrior Kid.